Good evening, everyone, and it is Sunday night. It is Sunday night. It's extra time. It's the final word on the weekend's action, and we're not talking about a defeat for a change. It was nearly a defeat, but it wasn't at the end, and we've got an absolute panel of top-notch proportions for you tonight to be talking through the weekend's action. We're going to be asking the question, is it a turning point for Wolves? And we're going to be looking at the performances. We're going to be talking points around the game. We're going to be taking your Q&A, and of course, we're going to be looking forward to Palace. I'd say we have got a great lineup tonight. We've got last week we had a double George. This week we've got double Jack. We've also got Sooty, but goodness me, we have with us tonight the winner, Wolves fan. We're so proud. Pride of Britain award winner, Mr. Manny Kang. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing great, mate. Great to be here. Yeah, here I am, guys.
Mate, literally, and I do believe you've got that. The trophy with you.
There you go.
Everyone in the chat, give him a clap. Manny, this time last week.
Sorry,
mate, we were running the show last week, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, whilst you were at the Pride of Britain, of course, it was aired on Thursday, so we were live on air.
Okay.
As I think I sent you the clip, as you were just being awarded, and so we were so really pleased. And obviously, we're going to be talking about the game and everything. But
yeah,
I'm sure a lot of people will be really interested a bit of the backstory in terms of behind the scenes from last week as well. Because it's quite emotional, wasn't it? You met some inspirational people.
Man, it was first of all, absolute incredible experience to be part of something that you never expect to ever happen. We actually got told on the Wednesday before the Monday show that they broke the news to me. They rang me, the organisers did, to say that I'd won. I don't regard it as a win because when you're fundraising or charity work, everyone's doing amazing, unbelievable work, and to choose somebody out of, there were 17 regional winners, so I was sort of the ITV Central regional winner. And yeah, so we went on the Sunday, Dave. So I didn't go to the Man City game because I had to be in London. Had to be in London by 5 o'clock, and that was the winners' dinner. So on the Sunday, all the winners met each other with Carol Vorderman and Ashley Banjo, who are the presenters, and so we spent the Sunday night together, and then Monday, as many people have seen on the on Thursday night, was the awards night. But it was an early start for us, so we sort of get all picked up, sort of chauffeur driven, red carpet. It's just a little bit surreal. I was standing in a queue with Warwick Davis in front of me and Simon Cowell behind me, and it's like, what are we doing here? I looking at Shabby and say, he's like, we've broken in, but met some amazing people and amazing stories for the people who've seen it. And yeah, we went in and we had our table, and I spotted Beverly Knight from a distance, so I went to go and see her. And as I went to see her, Connor Cody standing by my side. When I turned around, he's just standing there with his typical big smile on. And so met him, but didn't know he was going to be then a part of the presentation package and the awards start, and they're brilliant. And on the Thursday night that what people watched, that was edited, so they actually went on for about 3 hours on the night, where we had as much time as we liked to talk to. There was lots of other videos that were played during the night, so it was just a really amazing night. And Jim Broadbent, he came on to present the award, and he's recently become an ambassador of Dementia UK as well.
Fantastic.
He does
absolute legend of an actor.
Oscar-winning legend, and And then obviously Connor comes on. It's the surprise, and it's just an amazing moment. But for Dementia UK as well, they've never had anybody associated or nominated, let alone win a Pride of Britain award. So for the charity, it's huge awareness, coverage, people of stature talking about the charity, wanting to know about it, hearing about the story, and that's what my main take was. There was a lot of people of influence there that suddenly heard about why it was crucial to help this charity. And we met lots of people. I can't even name most of them because Dave, me and you, we don't understand. We don't know any of the young influencers and the TikTokers and the reality TV stars. But there was lots of sporting legends from yesteryear. Kelly Holmes and Laura Kenny and Jason Kenny, and just lots. David Seaman, and there was lots of old footballers and TV news. James Corden, he was really, I mean, never really watched him on that show that he used to do, the comedy show, and he was amazing. What a bloke! Really, you get an opinion, I think, on TV or on the media of people, but you only really find out from when you actually meet them. Yeah, Graham Souness, someone mentioned. I went over to him, and he goes, that was not a goal by Man City. And I said, can you record that and I put it out, didn't I? So he actually said it on camera, and yeah, brilliant night. And then obviously the following day, we have breakfast at Downing Street. So the pickups, so it's never ending. And yeah, they drove us to Downing Street, and we know, politics and government and stuff like that. It's not a popularity, a place of popularity at the moment. And governments have to do more for these charities. We exist because the need is there. And we were told, when you go and meet the Prime Minister, you can pretty much say what you want, and it's your time. So he came up to me, and for my little bit, he had 5 minutes with everyone, and he came up to me, and I just said, "Do better." That's what I said. I said, "Do better. Introduce railway safety into schools and scrap VAR. That's all you've got to do." That's all I said to him, and yeah, but again, amazing for me, my wife, to be there. It was a shame that like the rest of the family couldn't be there, but that's sort of the restrictions of the number of people they could have in there. And yeah, we got back home, and it's been a whirlwind all week. Just lots of coverage.
And then you had a watch party on Thursday night.
Yeah, we got family around, and that was emotional because it's one of those things, isn't it? When you're there, everything sort of just goes and flashes and happens really quickly, and lots of things are happening. And when you actually sit back down and watch it, then you actually see, the stories as well from the other people, and you just realize what has just sort of happened. And we don't, like I said, we don't chase these, and this isn't something that is a target or anything. It comes about because people decide to use kindness, goodness, bravery, courage, determination, all those things we have to use to complete challenges, to complete events, to complete and it then involves a huge number of people, not just your family, not just friends. Wolves fans, 95% Wolves fans are the donators towards this cause. I went to the Wolves women today, especially just to say thank you. During that walk I had.
And you know what? A load of the girls yesterday went to the match to support the boys as well.
Yeah, they did.
Were there, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, they did. Yeah, but two of them joined me on the walk for a couple of laps. Their fitness coach came out. They've always promoted what I did. Mac has always been really forthcoming and really, supportive of everything and sending messages and encouraging. So just wanted to go there just to meet them and say thank you. And it's definitely a huge team effort. Yeah, I'm sort of on stage receiving this, but really, nothing's possible if people don't support you. Then you will stop, because where do you go? So it's important to have support. So all I say is, if people are doing something out there, regardless of what it is, regardless of what level they're doing it at, go and support them. And that support doesn't have to be money. You don't have to give money if you can't. It doesn't have to be, you have to be there in person. It might just be a message. It might just, and the messages I've had this week, oh man, I can't reply to all of them. I just had to, just read them, because there's thousands, literally, from people from different clubs, different parts of the world, different, so hopefully we can use this extra step up in, awareness, to make a difference and do more, and raise more for this cause. So yeah.
Mate, I honestly, from everyone, you were on that very, very first podcast that we ever did. When we started the podcast, and you've been on pretty much everyone. You come on to Extra Time. You do pretty much all the in-person ones when we do those as well. On behalf of everyone at Always Wolves, and obviously, I'm sure that the whole fan base, and there's loads of Brighton fans that I was talking to before the game came up and said, "Well,
loads,
we're incredibly proud of you, mate, and it's incredibly well deserved." And I wanted to ask you, have you decided where you're going on your cruise yet? Because I know you've got a nice. They've given you that. That was another thing they threw in at the end.
You know what? That was another thing. So we haven't really. So it'll just, again, it's amazing to think that I'm the kind of person that never likes to put his feet up. I don't think. I've been busy today as well. So yeah, it's really nice, and it's really, I'm not going to say it's not. That's, of course it is. It's really nice, but we battle on, because people are living longer. There's a million people who got the condition. The numbers are growing, so we can't. It's not something. This isn't like a full stop. This is sort of a new beginning to what we can possibly achieve and where we can go with the fundraising. So this is for all of you and everybody. And I've been asked to bring it to Samosa Saturday next week, so I'll bring it so you can have it in your hands, and you have to get your own pictures with it, and just tell your family that I've won the Pride of Britain. I don't mind. It belongs to the fans of the football club, and everybody that's supported this cause.
Absolutely brilliant. Well said, mate. And before the end of the programme tonight, we will be looking ahead, because we have got Samosa Saturday number 20-something next week.
22, yeah.
Number 22 next week. So we'll come back onto that. But yeah, absolutely fantastic, mate. Incredibly, very proud of you. Next up tonight to join the panel, we have the voice of reason, who is back. That is Jack. I know, Jack, you've had a bit of flare up today with your... what's it called?
Crohn's.
Crohn's. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, so just a long day yesterday. Lots of travelling. Just doesn't help, does it? Sometimes. So yeah, just seeing how we go
thank
today.
you ever so much for coming on, mate.
Yeah, no problem. No worries.
You've had your flare up and stuff, and we're really looking forward to hearing your thoughts as well tonight. Mm-hmm. I said we've got a double dose of Jack. We had a double dose of George. We've got Jack number 2. How you doing, mate? You might recognise him. He's out of character tonight, Jack. And interestingly enough, we were at the game at the weekend. Manny's normally way at the back, somewhere or over there. You were literally 2 rows behind us, and you were 3 rows behind us. We were all sort of sitting really close.
It's a mad little triangle, weren't it?
We did. We did. It felt a bit Bermuda Triangle at the end as well when we scored those goals, mate. And how are you? How's the comedy going? Because, like, if you don't know, obviously you've got your alter ego as Poundland. You do some tours and stuff. You're incredibly popular. You're very, very funny guy. How's that all going for you? And you've got any plans coming down the line?
Oh, that's nice of you, mate. We've just finished so we've been sort of flat out really for the past 4 or 5 years. So we've just finished our last sort of 3rd tour at Stourbridge Town Hall a few weeks back, and that's That's the Gary Poundland stuff for a year now. I'll still do stuff online, but I'm not planning on any live shows for a year. We'll have a break and write some new stuff, but I want to try and write a solo show as myself, and also we're trying to write a couple of things to send off to TV. So that's the plan at the minute, mate. It's nice I'm looking forward to having a break from it, because it's a big reason that I've not been allowed to go away for a while. So Brighton was my first one for a bit, and I missed both goals. So
yeah, well, I'm sure we'll come on to that a bit, but mate, you do absolutely fantastic job. You know, your humour's incredibly funny. People do love it, and obviously we wish you all the success. And when you have some projects that you've got going, you obviously pop on here, and we're happy to sort of plug that out for you as well. So looking forward to getting your take on everything tonight as well, mate.
You're a gent, Dave. You're a gent. Good to be here. Glad to be here.
You're welcome. And last but no means least, we have him back. I didn't get to see him at the weekend, but it is Sutty, Super Sutty. How you doing, mate? And if you're listening to on the podcast, he's got a very nice Englandly coloured blue with a feeler tracky top on tonight. Another retro, mate.
Yeah, more Rangers, Dave, than England. How are you, everybody? Nice to see you all.
Well, yeah, that's true. You got it's sort of the Rangers colours as well. And did you stay to the end, Sutty? Just about. Now, before we get stuck in, I do want to say, of course, as always, a massive big thank you for the sponsors of Extra Time, Creation Wolf. For Powering Extra Time, they deliver the industry's and latest and most advanced digital solutions, taking your brand and online presence and digital capability to the next level. The link is in the description below, creationwolf.com. They're absolutely fantastic people. They really support what we do. And I know that they're already working with 3 or 4 other businesses that have come on board with them since watching the show. So, keep your eyes peeled for all the stuff that they're doing as well. So, guys, right, who wants to kick us off tonight with your talking points from the show? Manny, Jack, or Sutty, who wants to go first? Or do you want me to pick?
I can go first if you want. I don't mind.
Go on then, Manny. You go first.
What an absolute nightmare of a trip. If anybody enjoys going to Brighton away, I tell you what, I think it'd be easier to bloody walk there, because it's just horrific to park, horrific to, if you get on the train, you have to catch that silly little train to the bloody ground and then queue up with thousands back again. It's just, they've just dumped the ground in the middle of bloody nowhere with no traffic links. On a hill. So if you do park, then you're doing a mountain climb to bloody get to. It is just honestly really, yeah. So obviously people do go on the coaches and that, but the journey's a big journey, and we're there. 5 minutes ago we're 2-0 down, and that's that journey back home ain't gonna be pleasant. Definitely not going to be pleasant. So I thought the balance of the game. They had us under the cosh in that first half, but not through like they were cutting us apart and clearing, creating clear-cut chances. They just had a lot of the ball. I thought we just saw them off, and I looked behind to Jack and I said to him, it looks like we're going to keep a clean sheet here after 44 minutes. I spoke too soon, didn't I? Yeah. And obviously a horrific. I mean, the most basic thing, when there's a minute to go, you hold on to the ball, you take a deep breath, you bounce it a few times, you play, you play with that. You don't play physically, you play with that. And Jose saw, what the hell is he doing?
Manny? He did actually, when he had the ball, he did actually think about what he was going to do.
It seemed like it was like we're 1-0 down and there's 30 seconds to go, and he's trying to play a super ball somewhere to quickly break. And it's just in a no man's land, that ball goes. There's no player there. Completely mishit. I mean, just kick the ball long and high and let your strikers and your midfield battle for it. It's a basic kick he's got to do. So, I can see why Gary O'Neill and the club are probably thinking, the goalkeeper position, who's our best keeper? And I don't think Johnson's any better, but you can see you know, it doesn't matter if you make good saves. If you produce clangers like that, then that costs you. You know, that can, at the end of the day, that can cost you your position in the league. So goalkeeper's position is critical, and that was a basic error. He was not under pressure. He wasn't though he was like being challenged by anybody. You know, horrific mistake. Put us 1-0 down. But to credit the manager, that, let's be honest, I think pretty much after Brentford, I would unanimously, you know, made our minds up that he's got to go. We can't see a future. He did make a positive change, and he went for it, and he went back to back four. He put the extra striker attacker on, and I thought Sarabia did well. He put some good balls in. He held his
Sarabia has
position.
been itching and waiting to get on the pitch as well. He's not been included for ages.
He hasn't done amazingly, but he hasn't done anything wrong either to be dropped. You could have basically dropped any of that team. And yeah, I thought the second half we're playing well, probably not creating anything clear cut. You know, half chances, a few headers, just knocking on the door, and you think it's only 1-0, and then bang, that second goal. You know, again, mistake. We lose the ball. We've lost the ball. You know, when we've had it in possession, and then 2 passes later, it's in the back of the net, and you think at that point you're thinking that's it. That's the end of his reign. You know, he can't. In no way can he, you know, survive that now. And the rest is history. You know, we can't see from where our angle is 4 against 1 clearly, as you can see it now on the screen. But you know, that was 3-1, wasn't it? 99 times out of 100, that's probably going to end up 3-1. But Tommy Doyle is just. I think he's just got something about him. Even when he's got a quiet game, I think his mentality, I think he's got something there. And it's that, you know, when you heard his interview afterwards, he said, I just knew it was going to go there. So I gambled to go into that direction to intercept the ball. I just knew the body shape of the player, that he was going to play it that way. And not only did he intercept it, anyone else might have just whacked it. He actually passed it. He saw the player, you know, and Cooney, I think, was a little bit lucky. I think he was confused. He's run into the box thinking, what do I do? What do I do? 2 players have gone to his one side who were waiting to be slipped in, and he's just thought, let's just have a crack. And, you know, we got a bit of luck, bit of a deflection into the roof of the net, and then just bedlam, absolute, complete, you know, we all ended up in a row that we didn't start in, let's be honest. And, you know, and it's a real valuable point. And you know, it's a chance. There's a glimmer of a chance for Gary O'Neill to recover miraculously, but he's got 2 massive home matches, which he virtually needs 4 points from. I think he's probably going to be more confused than ever now anyway, because he's going back 5, he's gone to back 4, and he's thinking, what the hell do I play now? You know, and I think the mistake was playing 3 midfielders. Do not play 3 midfielders. Apart from Man City or a Liverpool, you don't need 3 midfielders, and we were toothless. But he recognised that, changed it, and so positive result.
Fantastic. And Jack, in the top there, you're nodding along with that, with about the 3 midfielders. What's your takeaways? And guys, in the chat, I know you're asking loads of questions. There's going to be plenty of time to ask questions. We will have a Q&A at the end to the panel to answer any of your questions. So if you save your questions for the end, or if you just want to make comments on the subjects that we're on at the moment, you can do, obviously, and I'll put some on the screen. But like any Q&A, keep your questions for the end of the podcast. Jack?
Yeah, I think in terms of like what Manny's talking about, back 3, back 5, back 4, it doesn't matter. It's about your mentality. And that was the biggest difference in the second half yesterday to the first half. The first half, I thought we were awful. I thought we were passive. I thought we were careless in possession. There was no structure to the play. We were so deep that when we did win the ball back, it was too far to actually do anything on transition. Cunha and Gomez were completely out of position out wide. They weren't involved in the game at all. Our active defending, tackling, blocking, that was all right. But then, like I said, we were far too deep. So you can't actually do anything. And Brighton just picked the ball off on the halfway line and came again. And you kind of felt that goal was coming. Second half, we were higher up the pitch. Sarabia came on, Forbes came on. I don't think Forbes was great, but just having someone up on that side, high up on the pitch, just pushes them back a little bit, and you've kind of got a bit of territory. The quality of the deliveries improved second half. Sarabia came on. Aït-Nouri put a couple of good balls in. Cunha put one in for Larson that he sort of flicked the header and the keeper sort of clawed it away. And it's just that mentality of just believing that you've got a right to be on that pitch, you know, and it comes back to the manager for me. And I've said this the last few weeks. He's so defeatist. You know, I was listening to him post-match and he's already talking up Crystal Palace next week, saying that they've got a £30 million striker. Well, hang on a minute. We've got two in Cunha and Larson. So, you know, I'm not having that as a starter that because Crystal Palace have spent £30 million on a striker that they're going to beat us and all that. I ain't having it. So it comes down to mentality, whether you've got back three, back four, back five, back eight, whatever it is. If you believe you belong on that pitch and you believe you can get something from the game, you've got every chance. And I think second half, we saw far more of that than we did in the first half.
I think that's a really good observation. Other Jack, what are your observations on that on this?
I agree with first top right hand corner, Jack. I agree with everything he said. I think despite everybody being absolutely buzzing, the fact that we've nicked a point from nowhere, and rightly so, to enjoy it because of how rubbish it's been, I think he's really lucky. I think he would have been sacked after that if we'd have lost, because nobody's really mentioning. Everyone's saying how great it was that Tommy Doyle did that, intercepted the ball, played that, made the assist, and with that brilliant pass, and we got a point. But nobody's saying, "Why? How's you centre midfielder on his own there?" With what left with four attackers, I know we were sort of pushing and gambling at the end, but if that third one would have gone in for me, everybody would have been and should have been saying, "Look at the state of that. How's it sort of come to that?" You know. But I'm happy with a point. I think a half decent manager gets a tune out of these lot. I think there's a lot of ability there. I think I heard a couple of people putting Strand Larson down behind me yesterday, and I didn't believe what I was hearing, because I think he's done brilliantly in a team that's underperformed. You know, when we've had a terrible fixture list and we can talk about bad luck, he's been incredible. 3 goals and 2 assists, and I think there's a lot to come from him. There's a lot of potential there. Yeah, I still think he's on borrowed time, and I'd love to be wrong. I'd love for us to have the next best English manager. I'd love him to prove me wrong, but I'm not so sure. And I'm sort of, the past couple of weeks, I know he's had to change things, but I feel like decisions have been made to appease fans and buy himself a bit of time. I might be wrong, but he was sort of adamant on this 4 at the back, and then it just went from nowhere to 5. And it seems like he's doing what everybody's been sort of echoing for a while. I might be wrong. Maybe he's just seeing it and decided. But yeah, I'm not completely convinced. I'm not convinced by a long shot, but I really, really hope I'm wrong. And as for us, we were so deep that first half. My nephew was saying to me, 5 at the back, man. It's going to be like Traore and we'll counter attack. And mate, I just said, look, we've got nothing. We'll win the ball back. There's not enough width. There's not enough pace. Semedo's not Traore, Aït-Nouri for how good he is. They just aren't quite good enough to play like that, I don't think, anyway. Every time Strand Larson, when he did, fair play to him, he had to battle for the ball. When he did win the ball back, it was like, I felt sorry for him. He got nowhere to go. Cunha was too far away from him. It just looked like there was zero opportunity of a counter attack, which I was hoping we was going to get that identity about us again. But yeah, we'll see.
Well, we did have a big opportunity early doors in the against Brighton, because obviously I'd have put money on Tommy Doyle burying that, because he can pass a ball 40 yards on a tuppence. And Tommy Doyle did a brilliant interview after the match as well. Really good interview. He'd be really disappointed with that. But Cunha did really well to cut it back. And I was saying at the time, it's like these are the moments you've got to take these chances, because if you don't, Brighton are going to have a chance. I think we're going to go on to Sutty a second. I think Manny, we talked about obviously Jose Sarr. We saw the best of Jose Sarr in the first half. He made an absolute worldie of a save from out. It was a long range shot tipped around the post, and then obviously it's the distribution. It was interesting actually, and in terms of how it started. If we got in front, it would have been really interesting because Brighton would have had to push more a bit forward as well, but we didn't take the chance. Brighton got a front. It changed at half time. Obviously, they got the second goal, and then obviously the rest is history. Sutty been waiting very patiently, but I think everyone's going to be very interested to hear your take on yesterday.
Well, good evening, everyone, and all the panel. Yesterday, well, what can I say, really? I think we got out of jail, Dave. I don't think we really... Look, I'm not going to knock anybody's fight within that team. We showed some bottle, and we got a point. But there's nothing within that setup that convinces me that the man in the dugout is the right man. There's nothing there, Dave. If you freeze frame a lot of our play out of possession of the ball, we are absolutely abysmal. Other head coaches, Dave, will be looking at us thinking, watch this in freeze frame. They are a shambles. We are a shambles. Now, we've gone gung-ho yesterday and scraped a draw and what would be normally a very, very good point. And it might well end up being a very good point. As I said to you after the Man City game, that point could be crucial. But I don't see anything what this man's doing. And the biggest catalyst for my worry in this is that he went on screen after and said he was disappointed in himself for starting in a back five. One, we don't have the personnel to play a back four. To play a back four, you have to defend from the front. Our forwards are not mobile enough and quick enough to play a pressing game for 90 minutes. That's fact. Two, we don't have a back four, a flat back four that can play a back four for 90 minutes. We haven't got two fullbacks. We've got wing backs, but you're trying to convert these lads into fullbacks. It ain't happening. You've got two centre halves in Santi Brenner, who I thought was very good yesterday. Excuse me. And Craig Dawson, who basically turn slower than the QE2 at times. Now, anybody with a little bit of pace will get at these. Your Haalands and people like that, Dave, Craig Dawson will follow them around all day long. Because although he's an absolute world-class finisher, he's not that nippy little player who's going to have ball at feet and terrorise you on the ground. Now, somebody like young Nketiah next week probably be licking his lips if we start with a back four, because we are an absolute nightmare. Why is it that we, from top to bottom in this club, are not proactive in doing things? My big worry here is, Dave, I think we've left it too late now to get rid of him. I'd get rid of him now. Right now, I'd get rid of him and all his backroom staff. Because I have a feeling that 2 or 3 clubs are going to make managerial changes before Christmas. And if that happens, you can bet your life that any one of these 1, 2 or 3 clubs that do it will nick managers or head coaches that we should have been getting. Now, unfortunately, everybody knows how Wolves are run now, Dave. So if you've got a choice of clubs to go to now, and a choice of clubs with decent owners, they're going to go elsewhere. They ain't coming to us. But while there's only one job on the table, the Premier League does look quite enticing. But we're shambles, Dave, on the pitch. Yesterday, I stood there, my lad, yesterday, saying, look, we weren't very good first half, but they didn't really trouble us as such. We gave them a goal. The first goal, we've literally handed to him on a plate. Now, Gary O'Neill can't do anything about that. That's not Gary O'Neill's fault. Now, I've been begging for us to set up in a 3 or a 5, whatever you want to call it. We don't have the dynamic players that we used to have to play that 5. Your Traores and Jimenez down the middle and a Jota and people like this. Neves and Moutinho, Marshall in your midfield. They've decimated our side, Dave. It's decimated. It's nowhere near the side that won the championship, mate. the side that won the championship would beat this side now. It was far superior because it had a belief in a manager that did things, and it had a system. And when he spoke, you shut up and you listened to him because he was the boss. I just do not see that they've got a level of respect for this manager and what he's trying to achieve, because I don't even think they believe in it, Dave. That I believe today there's video footage of João Gomez saying, I don't like this system. I can't. This isn't the way I play football.
I haven't seen any video footage of Joe Gomez saying that.
Well, I haven't seen it, but I've heard people talking about it. So
if they're talking about it, then it would be really interesting to see. It'd be all over social media. Has anyone else seen that?
If this is true, I don't know if it's true. Well, that's damning, Dave. But even so, we're talking now. Is it 20 games, 6 months without a win?
19 games, 1 win. That's half a season. We've changed the colour of the ball now, though, so the results might pick up.
Well,
back to the yellow ball.
If we beat Crystal Palace next week, we're still in the bottom 3. If we don't, we're 7 points behind them. That's massive, Dave.
Well, depending on if they beat us or not. Obviously, I'm going to come back on all of these points, which are very, very good points. You know, I'm going to kick off with where Manny said, like, I was where Manny was 100% after the Brentford game. I mean, I couldn't believe that game because how bad we were. We were just so bad. And I was like, you got to go. Coming back to Jack's point about the back five, he's always played a back five against City. He made that point. He tried to make out that he would always have played a back five against City anyway. That was be it. And I do think that Jack's point that he's probably played a back five because of fan pressure at the weekend. And I think that's his reference. It's because there's a lot of fans have been saying, back five, we've got to play a back five, we've got to play a back five, we've got to play a back five. We can't play a back four, we've got to play a back five. So I think probably it's got in his head, and he has played a back five where his gut is to play a different system against Brighton. So look, at half time, he's looked at it and gone, we're 1-0 down. We've missed a golden opportunity. We've created nothing. We need to get back into this game. And the one thing that I've been really upset, and Emma has been the same, Newcastle, we're winning the game 1-0. You know, their manager makes changes at half-time to the personnel in the system. Villa, we're winning 1-0. Unai Emery makes changes at half-time. Brentford, we're losing 4-2. He does nothing. He does nothing at half-time. So he can be criticised quite rightly for a lot of the decisions that have happened this season. He made bold changes at half-time. He made bold changes. And we can criticise Gary for a lot of things, but he was proactive and he made a change. And I know we go on about back four and we can't play a back four and stuff like that. We played a back four in the second half, and these are the stats, the actual stats from the first half, playing a back five. As you can see, Brighton had 60.6% possession towards 39.4. They had 13 shots to our 3. They had 3 shots on target to our 1, 4 off target to 1. And then the touches in the box were a lot higher as well. Second half comparison, Brighton ended up having 6 more shots. We had 11 shots. We had 6 shots to their 3 on target. We were, the stats play out. So when we played that back four, we were way the better team in the second half. I don't think Brighton actually expected. I'm not saying that's what he should be doing, but he made a change. It made a difference. And we were very, very aggressive. And I didn't see, if those players didn't believe in Gary O'Neill, if they'd given up the goat, they wouldn't have played like that in the second half. They played with fight, with passion. They played for the fans. The fans were magnificent, by the way, the Wolves fans throughout the game. They were way behind them. They were cheering. They were shouting. Even when we went behind 2-0, Yeah, we made a couple of mistakes because they were being brave. A lot of time I hear people coming on here going, oh, we're tippy-tatting the ball about. We don't pass the ball forward. We don't move it forward. We don't get shots on goal. And people complain we're not being brave enough. They were brave. They were brave. They were brave in that second half, and they went for it. They made a mistake against Brighton, and I think it was Forbes who was trying to play a pass through. We got picked off. They scored a second goal. At that point, loads of fans left. They walked out, and you can't blame them. I thought, here we go again. But football is a 95-minute game. You know, we got a goal. We got a bit of luck. It bounced down on the set piece. Ryan Aitnouri finished it. And Brighton were panicking. Yeah, they had a break, 4-on-1 at the end. But they had a break. You might as well lose 3-1 at that point as lose 2-1. So basically, we lost the ball. They broke. Tommy Doyle was back there. He intercepted. He played a ball, which ended up being an assist to Kuna. Kuna's moving forward, thinking, shall I pass it? What shall I do? Looking, decides to hit it. And how many times this year people will say, we got lucky. We got lucky. Yeah, we got lucky because it deflected off someone at the underside of the bar and it went in. We have got unlucky a million times. So many deflections. The Ryan Aitnouri shot against Villa that goes past. Shot against Chelsea when it's 2-2. It goes off the bar. Same at Forest. And we've had a deflected goal going against Newcastle, a deflected goal going for the first against Villa, and a deflected goal against Chelsea. So we've had a lot of bad luck. So I'm glad we had some luck for once. I didn't care whether it went in from someone's backside. It went in and we got a draw 2-2. Does it mean that, you know, Gary O'Neill is off the hook? Absolutely not. It doesn't. Of course it doesn't, because we've won one game in 19. But I was there at the end. You were there, Sutty. The away fans were singing his name at the end. They were singing his... You might not have been.
Dave,
but it's drumming loud. There's a lot of the away fans were singing his name.
Dave.
So like, it's not like they've completely turned on him. Jack's right. Had we lost 3-1, it could have been a very different song they were singing to Gary O'Neill at the end of that game. All I'm saying is he's not off the hook. I'm very, very pragmatic, and I was done after the Brentford game. Emma is the same. We're not sure still on this. I'm sort of so worried about it because, like you say, Sutty, it could be too late. West Ham are being linked with Conte Shaw. Julian Lopetegui, the saviour of West Ham. Oh, they want rid of him. And they're talking about Conte Sarr. I mean, he would be a good one to get in for Wolves. All I'm saying is the next two games are going to make or break Wolves' season and Gary O'Neill. There's no drawing. There is no losing. He has got to win both of those games. And Crystal Palace beat Tottenham today. So they've got a jump as well. But, like, the next two games are going to define him. And the decision, I think, will be made at the international break after the next two games. But, like, yeah, have I been won back over? No. But you have to give credit where credit's due sometimes. He was brave yesterday, and it made a difference.
Dave, I just want to come in, Dave. You know what? The players do have fight. We do see that. The players do have ability. We do see that. But what I see is, you know, on a training ground, a manager should have a map of his formation, his system, and his belief. I'm pretty sure someone like Nuno would have had a map, and there were the only little tweaks he'd make each week, depending on the opposition. I'm pretty sure Gary O'Neill's map is a complete blank, and he hasn't got a clue who he's going to put where before the next game. That's where I see our team. I think, yes, there was a lot of fans singing his name. When you've scored 2 goals in 3 minutes in injury time, away from home, emotions come out. You say those.
Manny, can I jump in really quickly? That's a quick point, later.
Yeah.
Nobody sung it before then, mate, because I thought about singing it myself. Nobody did all game, so I think that speaks volumes. And it's not me being negative.
No, but what I'm saying is, Jack, in an emotion, you can do that in the cold light of day, when you're sitting back, when you're driving back. You're actually thinking, that's 8 months since we won.
To be fair, Jack, they actually did sing Gary O'Neill's Balmy Arby during the game. They actually did sing it.
Did they?
Yeah, a couple of times. It wasn't like at the end, but there was a few. They were going through the repertoire.
Okay,
Yeah.
I must have missed it.
No, but you know, in the cold light of day, when you sit back and you analyse things, we haven't won a game away from home for 8 months. You know, there's virtually no chance of
We
you
haven't
stopping
won a
it.
game
Yeah,
March.
since April. So you know, and it's February if you go away from home, and so yes, it was great, and those 5 minutes were great, and we had a lot of euphoria, and we were punching the air. Of course, we were, because that's what we go to football for. It doesn't matter if you're bottom of the league. It doesn't matter if you're in League Two. When you have a moment like that, you're gonna celebrate. You're gonna go ballistic. So yes, there was that euphoria, but when you actually go back and sit back down, you know, when we were in the car, when I speak to my lads, we were thinking he's probably even more clueless now than he was at the start. I think he's gone now even more clueless. I'm pretty sure he goes in and he might as well, you know, put a blindfold in and throw some darts on a board and see where they land, and then choose his formation that way, because I don't think he's got a clue right now how to play against Crystal Palace. I don't think so. Because if he goes forward at the back, if he thinks, let's abandon 5 and go forward at the back, oh my God, Crystal Palace will be doing this. Oh, Gary O'Neill's going forward at the back.
I think he'll go 4 at the back next week.
I think it's horrific, absolute horrific. And yeah,
I'm
it
not
might
saying
win.
that's the
It might
right
prove
thing
me
to
wrong.
do.
But an absolute horrific decision that will be, because we know our defenders, right, cannot play a 4. Everyone knows that they cannot play a 4. We haven't got them. We didn't buy them. Fosun wouldn't buy those centre halves. We have not got the players to play a 4.
Do you think though, and this is a question to all of you, it is a good point, because I don't disagree with the back 5. I think we've been talking about for ages, you know, about round pegs in round house. Do you think though we can play a back 5 like we used to play a back 5?
No, not like we used to. But Dave, we didn't need 3. We had 3 midfielders sitting there. You play, you know, the Forbes and Sarabia. You start with those types of players. You play the striker, and you play
think
2
a 3-4-3
midfielders.
is a better system?
You have overlapping wing backs with 2 wide players. Yes, they're not as good as, I agree with Sutty, they're not as good as the ones we used to have, but you still have the blueprint exactly the same. We're playing Brighton, we're not playing Man City. What have you got? 3 in the midfield and 3 at the back. So it was gonna be negative. It was gonna be, the intention wasn't there. There was no brave. It was almost like a cowardly system the first half, and I thought, we've seen them off here. I was pleased that we've seen them off when we got to 0-0, and then we made that mistake, because that would have been a result to get to 0-0 at half time with that system. In a way, it's probably a blessing in disguise that Jose Sarr makes that mistake, because we would have played the same bloody way in the second half, and they probably would have seen us off. So it made him change, because we messed up, and you know, I just can't see what the vision is. I don't think there is a vision there. I don't think we've got long enough to wait for that vision to develop. He's had long enough. He should have noticed. He should have got that straight away in his head when we concede 4 goals in a flash against Chelsea at home in your first game. You know, you can't concede 6 goals at home and pretend that, oh, I'm going to play the same system the next game. No, you change then. You know, managers change in the game. You definitely change for the next game. And he took too long, and now he hasn't got a clue how to play a 5. He doesn't know how to play a 5. We know he doesn't know how to play a 4. He's proven that since, you know, how many months? 20 games. So I think we're in a situation where we're clutching at straws. We're thinking, we're crossing our fingers, we're hoping things happen next week.
I think that's where everyone is. I think everyone will say, like, we don't want to be in a situation. I mean, there's a lot of people. Sutty, I think, you know, Jack, you came out a couple of weeks ago. I don't know whether your position's changed a bit more on Gary O'Neill over the last couple of results, and obviously Jack, you know, with Gary, and I'm like, was well done at Brentford, but I'm a little bit more pragmatic, and I was very emotional after that game. You know, I want Gary O'Neill to win the next 2 games comfortably and go, do you know what, and stick 2 fingers up to us and go, yeah, I was right all along, and for people to come on.
We'd love it. All of us would love it.
People to come on like Sutty in sort of 4 or 5 weeks' time and go, do you know what, I was wrong. He's sorted it out. But like at the back of your head, there's a lot of us that are thinking, do you know what, if we're going to make a change, it's got to happen sooner rather than later, because we're going to be running out of time. Sutty, I want to ask you the question. When you talk about the back 3, rather than the 5-3-2, are you thinking more 3-4-3? Is that where you're like Manny's saying with them two midfield with Joe Gomez and probably Tommy Doyle in the middle? They seem to complement each other a lot better.
They do. I don't get the negativity around it. I don't get why we think that having two wing backs, natural wing backs, bombing forward, that's two extra attackers you got on the field straight away. I don't get the negative. This four at the back frightens the life out of me. I watched it again. I watched recordings of it yesterday. Okay, yeah, the stats show that we were better in the second half going forward, but out of possession of the ball, my God. If Brighton have had their heads on, they'd have battered us. We were terrible. I'll tell you another issue here, Dave, is what I said about earlier, is if you're going to play this four at the back, basically he plays a 4-5-1, doesn't he? You're playing this four at the back. Like I say, your centre half, like your centre forward, has got to do so much closing.
Very exposed.
And you've got to press.
Which is why it's no good
one going, Dave. It's no good one going and nobody else going, because that leaves a great big hole then and everything starts to fall apart because that next player goes to cover him because his press has gone too soon. It's got to be so well drilled, and it's just not well drilled. And not only that, you've got to be mega fit. And we haven't got these players that can go 90 minutes playing that kind of football. We look like we're blown out of our arse after 60 minutes. And you're going to get picked off, i.e. we got picked off against Newcastle. We were blowing like anything. Villa, we're blowing like anything. We've dominated these teams. Liverpool went toe-to-toe with them, blowing like anything after 60 minutes. We cannot do it. Now, you've either got to go on a mega fitness regime and get people into finely drilled, tuned machines, or you play to a system that's going to suit you. Now, you might not score quite as many goals, but in a well-drilled 3-4-3, you won't concede many either. And you're putting round pegs in round holes. I cannot feel. I'd love to go to Compton and see what they're doing. I can't see a plan here. Like Manny just said, I don't see a direction in what we're going. He worries the life out of me. And as I've said before, if the next two games, a draw is no good. We have got to win both games. End of. You've got to win those games. There are teams around you, and you've got to win. Now, if we get at the next 8 games, if you come here in 8 game time and we've picked up 20 points, I'll go like this. But what I'll also remind you of is January and February fixtures are absolutely atrocious. And I mean, it's almost like what we've just been through. So these must-win games now, coming up to Christmas, are must-win. If he's got anything about him saving his job, he has to go out there and win these games. Now, nobody's got a right to win anything. You have to earn wins, Dave. And that happens in the dugout as well. Look, for me, if I woke up in the morning and I open my newspaper up and it says Gary O'Neill has been sacked, I'll be chuffed. My only concern is who they're going to replace him with. Because like I said, everybody knows how Wolves are run now, Dave.
Rob Edwards.
Well, right, he's not having the best of seasons.
Till you cut the head off the snake at the top, the poison will keep seeping through, Dave. And that's fact.
Okay, I think that's a very good point. I think the 3-4-3 is I think, rather than the 5-3-2, is definitely a bit more of an attacking formation, and I think would suit the players. Where's Manny gone? Oh, there you go. He's back. Jeff got at you then, or someone, Manny. Jack, do you want to just come back in on that before we then go on to man of the match performance rating? The two Jacks want to come back on that and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think going back to what you were saying about the second half, It was because Sarabia was on the pitch. It's not about the 3 or the 4. It's because you've got someone on the pitch that can play the ball forward and has got a bit of craft and a bit of guile. That's what made the difference in the second half. Not the fact that we suddenly went to the back 4 and that made a massive difference. It's personnel and it's mentality. And this thing that he said after the game, I was disappointed in myself for playing a 5. You're the manager. So if you can't convince yourself to play the way you want to, how are you going to convince them players? How are you going to convince them players that what they're going out onto that pitch to do is the right thing to do if you can't tell yourself that? And if you look at these next 2 games, everyone is absolutely bang on. They are must-win games. Does he believe that he can win the games? Because we're sitting here thinking, I don't think we can. But I don't think he does either. And that's the biggest issue.
No, I think we can win the games. I think
but I don't think Gary O'Neill thinks we can win them. Because he's already getting his excuses in about how these teams have spent more money than us and they've got these great players. And he said, Southampton keep the ball really, really well. Every team in the Premier League keeps the ball really well. Southampton have got 1 point out of 27. We should be beating them in a couple of weeks' time, regardless of how well they keep the ball. It's absolute nonsense. This constant, this team of this team of that, this team of that. Nuno never used to say anything like this. It was always how good we are, what we can do, where our strengths are. And we used to go into games against Man City's, Liverpool's, and we used to give them a game. And we used to go into that ground thinking we've got every chance today. And now there's none of that. Absolutely none of that. And then it comes from the manager, because he's so this rhetoric of this team is stronger than us. The bookies have got them as favourites, and they're going to be challenging above. You don't want to hear it as a supporter. You want a manager that's a leader and takes that group of players into battle for your football club. And I don't think he's doing that. I really don't.
Okay, good point, Jack.
I just want to go back briefly. I agree with everything Jack said there as well. I do keep saying that, but I do agree with you all in general.
It's a Jack thing.
Yeah.
It's a Jack thing.
Yeah. Well, Jack, you sort of saying that then, it's sort of like you sort of negative. The way he's talking negatively before these games, and look what's happening at Forest at the minute, man. Nuno's doing exactly what he did down here, and he's got instilled that belief in the fans, in the players, everybody pulling in one direction.
Turn Chris Wood into Haaland.
Say again, God, he's incredible. Did we not try and sign him when he was about 18?
Yeah.
Pretty sure we did. Yeah, but that everybody pulling the same way, everybody believes, and there's none of that negativity. We missed that badly. I'm still on a hangover from now, like probably all of us. But just going back briefly, Dave, so you're talking about him changing it in the second half and saying it was brave. I just think he had to, mate. He's got no choice. It's like last chance saloon stuff. It's all like, if he just doesn't make those changes, then he's gone. So I mean, those are gambles, but those gambles are so, because of the position we're in now, those gambles are sort of.
I don't think they'd have sacked him if we'd have lost yesterday. I do not think. I think they're all along. They're going to be waiting for Palace and Southampton. This is the acid test.
I agree. Yeah, I'm more so Fowson would do that. I think from a fan's point of view, people might have wanted it more, been calling for it, but I don't think Fowson would have the intention of doing that. Yeah, so I just sort of think his decisions, they are gambles at the minute, but that's sort of the position he's got himself into, that he's having to make these big, these sort of tactical changes at half time, and it's not proactive, it's always reactive as well. I said that to a chap when I was sneaking off early at the end. I said to a chap outside, these changes and the positive changes, they always happen when we've conceded. We never seem to come out the blocks at the game, sort of things. Anyway, I'm waffling. That's where I am.
No, you're not waffling.
I know I'm wrong.
It makes really good sense, because I think we're all sort of like seeing the same picture overall. And, I think it's all going to come down personally. I think the pressure on Gary, on the club, on the players for Palace and Southampton are off the scale, because as fans, there's someone like I got called about like loyalty and stuff like that, because I had a meltdown after Brentford, and it's like the fans, the Wolves fans, have been so loyal and patient for such a long period of time. I don't see many other fans that would have been putting up with this for like half a season's worth of results, and we've won one game, going home and away, costs a lot of money. It's tough. And the joy at the end of the Brighton game was kind of like, we haven't had anything like that to cheer about for so long. So no wonder it went ballistic, because that's the only bit of joy. An equaliser at Brighton in the 93rd minute after being down and out. It was an outpouring of relief that we've, almost hope that came out. Well, maybe this will be the psychological turning point for the players. Like the Man City goal last week, we've seen a lot of late goals where we've lost. We got back in the game against Liverpool, conceded straight after. Mentally, that's got to take a toll. So this is the first time mentally that the players have had a real positive lift at the end of the game. Like, they were dead and buried and they've got a draw. And that can sometimes flip a switch into changing the results. And that's, I think, where all the fans are. We sort of hope for that it's going to happen. What I'm gonna do now, and we're gonna go over some Q&A and look ahead to the next couple of games. But like, if I go with you first, Manny, your sort of man of the match and performance rate highlight of the day.
Oh, man of the match, man. You know what? I agree with Jack. Strand Larsen gets so much stick because, what's he supposed to do every time he receives the ball? He's supposed to bang it into the net. The system that we played in the first half just left him. We hung him out to dry. When the crosses go in, he's a danger. So Sarabi's putting balls in. Suddenly he's getting heads on the end of the crosses. We got a corner. He got a flick on. So he's there, and we've seen he does produce. His passion, I think, is great. You see his passion. When we scored that goal, the way he reacted to the way a couple of players like slumped in probably disbelief, but he was really emotional, and I do like him. But I'll probably give it to Tommy Doyle because he hasn't started a Premier League game this season. The reason, because we went and spent 20 million quid on a player we didn't need, and we dropped him over the weekend. We spent 20 million. We had to buy 2 centre halves, not one. We had to buy 2, and we spent 20 million on a midfielder we didn't need. We spent 10 million on a goalkeeper that didn't improve the one we had. So we threw away 30 million quid, not on the correct and then we've dropped that player. We dropped a Brazilian international.
And he was thinking, what's he doing over here?
Yeah, and he's complete and utter. I don't blame him. He shouldn't be here because we don't need him. We got Tommy Doyle. If Lamina and Gomez doesn't work, we got Tommy Doyle. We also had Boubacar Traore. He got injured, so we actually got another one. We got midfielders that are coming out our ears here. So I hope this for him. Tommy is a start that will give him belief because he's young. Remember, he's young. He's still learning. He'll still make mistakes like any other player, but that last moment he intercepts. That's even for him, that's a big. Yeah, people say, "Oh, as a misplaced pass, this, that, the other," but he still did that, and he still.
He said in his interview, "I knew exactly where he was going to put it."
But the thing is, you have that. You know what? Really good midfielders.
Yeah.
Of the past, it wasn't because they had brilliant pace. It wasn't because they were physically built like a 6 foot broad. They actually knew. They knew there. They could read the game. They knew where to be positioned. Look at Moutinho. Look at how old he was, but he just knew where to be. And I think Tommy Doyle more than the other midfielders. You see Mario Lemina trying so hard. He ends up everywhere. Mario Lemina ends up everywhere. Tommy Doyle sort of knows his zone, knows his area, and he'll be my man of the match. And fair play to him. Performance rating. I mean, if you just say it on the bloody last 5 minutes, then it's a 10 out of 10 experience, isn't it? That last 5 minutes. That's what you go to football for. That euphoria, those moments. But before that, let's be honest. That first half was cowardly, and we hung on just until that last moment. And a point away at Brighton as a standalone result is a very good result, I think. In your season, if you get a point at Brighton, is a very good result. In our predicament, we're still another game without a win. So I'll give the point away at Brighton a 7 out of 10 because it's a point, isn't it? We've got a point, even though we we got out of jail a little bit. It still was a point. And moment, it's got to be that young boy, isn't it? So
Well,
there's a young kid. When the second goal goes in, he's
crying.
right in front of us. He
I
is
said to you, didn't I? He's a poor
screaming.
lad.
He's Dave's pointing at him, and I grabbed him. And I said, "Mate, we had 40 years of this. You've got to man up. You're going to get a lot of this at Wolves, but believe, because the next goal is for you." And then we scored, and then we scored again. So we were like picking him up, and we're celebrating with him, and and that's what football does. You got a young kid there who's crying his eyes out, and then 3 minutes later, the guy's crying his eyes out
the
again.
video, isn't that? The video's on the website.
Yeah,
on
amazing.
YouTube, that 55 seconds from us.
And that's what football fans go to football
Amazing.
for. That's what we go for. That's why we go with our children. So he was there with his lad. I'm there with my lads. Jack, you was there with your nephew, was it? That's what we go with your family. You go for those moments, don't you? You go for those little things. You go for that hope. I mean, Brighton away ain't a bloody easy trip, and so that was a great moment, but long term, we pretty much, it's like roll the dice, isn't it? We're rolling dice, aren't we? We're just like seeing if we can land on a couple of sixes. Basically, that's what we seem to be doing every week. So bring it on, and we as fans, all we can do is give everything, and I think we do. You can't blame the fans. The fans give everything every game.
Yeah.
Every game they give everything, and we did turn, but we turned. We had 5 bloody goals we conceded at Brentford. If you ain't going to turn there, where are you going to turn? So the fans, I think, have been very patient, extremely patient, and 2 home games. If we don't turn up at those, mate, then you'll see a different side to the fans.
You will, 100%. Sutty, yours, and then we'll go to the Jacks.
Man of the match. Well, I think there was a few individual performances. I thought Santi Breno was steady, very good. Tommy Doyle's Tommy Doyle, isn't he? The Ginger Perlo. He puts his heart on his sleeve, and he plays likewise. He'll give you everything. Give me 10 outfield Tommy Doyles every day of the week, because he don't roll around on the floor injured. He always looks to play a forward ball. He's class, that kid. £4 million for the goofy monster. Yeah, I'll have the £4 million player every day and pocket the profit off that idiot as well. So I think Tommy Doyle and Nelson Semedo as well, because Nelson Semedo has had 2 real quality games.
He's ended up against Matoma as well. It's so tricky, and he really didn't come. He played really well.
Nelson's played very, very well last few games, to be fair to him, in a position that he's not overly comfortable with as a fullback. So could go for any of them, really. I'm going to stick my neck out, and I'm going to say Semedo, because he kept their danger man really quiet. So I'm going to go for him. I'm going to give it, Dave. I'm going to give it a 6.5, and that seems really harsh, probably because of the comeback, as Manish just said. It's if you give it for the last 5-6 minutes, you'd give 20 out of 10. Going a bit of bollocks, to be honest, and you've got to show that. You've got to show that. And I think there were a lot of. I'm not so sure they were doing it for him. I think they're doing it for themselves as well, Dave. I don't think they believe in this man, and I'll stand by that. But I'll give it a 6.5. My moment of day really was a moment of 2 days, to be honest, because I spent 12 hours round trip picking my lad up from Alnwick in Northumberland on Friday. I left at 11:20 on Friday morning from Birmingham and walked back through my front door in Worcester at 11:20 on the night to get 8 hours kip to then go to Brighton and back. So I did 1,000 miles in just 24 hours to go and watch that. But it's with your boy, like Manage just said. He goes with his boys. There's nothing like a dad and a lad. I know you're well into your 50s now, Dave, but you'll always be your dad's lad. And it's very special for him to go to football with his boy. And it's the same for me, to be honest. Irrelevant of a result or performance, going with your son is something that he will tell his offspring, hopefully, when he's taking them as well. So that was my moment of the day.
I love it. Jax, go on.
Yeah,
sorry, Jack.
Go on. Yeah, you carry on.
Go on, mate. Carry on, pal. Go on.
Okay. So I said 6.5 as well. I thought the first half was crap, and then second half was better, but we're still making too many individual errors. I mean, both their goals were on the plate, weren't they? And I mean, I was just in my head, I was being a bit daft with the numbers as usual. And we've scored 12 goals this season, and for a return of 2 points. So to stay up, we're going to have to score 240 goals, which we're not going to do. So we've got to cut out these errors, haven't we? So yeah, man of the match. I Santi Bueno, because I thought he stepped up and did something that we've not really seen a lot of in terms of that aggressive playing out a little bit and coming a bit further forward. And he tends to play it quite safe sometimes when he does play. But I thought yesterday he kind of stepped in and did that sort of side of it really well. So I went with him. And just that moment that I just wrote one word down, limbs. Just that moment of just that pure elation when that second goal went in. And I think what everyone's been saying is absolutely right, because we've been so starved of it recently. You know, just it wasn't even a winning goal, but it felt like one. You know, just because it was that moment of something's gone our way and we're going to, you know, squeeze the life out of it to enjoy it and milk it for everything it's worth. And I think I've seen some of the videos from the Brighton end of our end sort of going off, and it's just good to be part of. And I think what Sutty and Manny have said as well, you know, just that shared experience, isn't it? You know, that's why we go to football. You know, none of us here go to football because we want our team. We want our team to win, but we expect them to win. You know, we're Wolves, aren't we? So it's those rare moments of beauty and magic that we all cherish. And that was one of them, wasn't it?
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Jack?
I'm going to go 4. I'm going to say 6.75. Because I'm going to say it's a little bit better, but it's not quite a 7. Yeah. I thought my man of the match as well. There was a lot of really good individual performances. Ben, I think, was a great shout, Jack, and obviously Tommy Doyle, Strand Larson. But I was surprised. I thought I was going to be the odd one out. But Semedo for me has been consistently, if not our best player for quite a while. I think he's sort of underrated.
Even last season, yeah.
Underrated, undervalued, and I think I'll just love, you know, it doesn't matter what he comes up against. He does quietly sort of go about his own business and do his job without taking much plaudits. But I thought he was excellent yesterday. And he kept that Matama, he kept him quiet, and that Matama's absolutely crucified him the past couple of times.
Yeah.
Well, I think every time we've come up against them. So to turn up and perform like that against, so he must have been cacking his pants beforehand. I don't know, but I thought it was an excellent performance from him, so I'll give it to him. My moment of the day, I think you can probably all work it out, was travelling 3.5 hours. I paid for private parking on someone's drive on a little dive council estate, which turned out to be about 6 miles away. So we had to get Ubers into the ground. Then that second goal went in. I looked at my nephew. I went, let's get back to Wolves, to the railway, and get drunk. We left the ground. I was slagging Gary O'Neill off to a bloke on the steps. And the first goal went in. Then we realised we couldn't get an Uber, so we jumped on the shuttle buses, surrounded by away fans. And then we sort of slowly, I went, hang on a minute. And we sort of, I can't believe it, 2-0 down and all that. And we realised that we'd got a point. We got exactly what we deserved for leaving, me and my nephew. I'm still blaming him. We'll never do it again. But my nephew was like devastated because he missed the goals, and he missed the Man City goal last week. He had a problem with his ticket. So I think he's seen 2 Wolves goals this season so far. But in the end, what was nice, I said, mate, look, I know we've missed the goals. I said, but we've got a point. I said, that's a massive point. At least we've come away with something. And in the end, we got about an hour into the drive back, and he went, yeah, I'm glad now. At least we got a point. So I was happy with that. And I know it's a bit rubbish at the minute. And I said to my mate today, I said, I can't imagine what it's going to feel like the next time we win a game. It's going to be like winning the Pride of Britain award, I think, man. It's going to be unbelievable. So I'm sure it's coming. I'm sure it's coming, ain't it, lads? We'll just hang in there. And it was lovely. It was lovely to see you a pair at the match as well. It's a shame I didn't see Jack and Sutty, but it's lovely seeing faces. And it was nice to be back amongst pals. You know.
I'll tell you what, mate. That's great for owning that as well. That's brilliant.
What can you say? What can you say?
Dave, can I just say for people that have never been to this stadium, this stadium has been built with not one football supporter, home or away, in mind. It literally is in the middle of a field, about 5 miles outside of Brighton, with no major transport links, on a hill. If you hire a driveway, like Jack's just said, and it says it's going to be close, get ready to book a taxi. I basically drove to the traffic lights next to the ground yesterday, pulled in left, and there was a little market gardening place there on the left. And there was a guy on a 5-bar gate, and I pulled up and he said, "No football supporters are parking here, no one." I took 20 quid out of my pocket. I went, "What about 20 quid?" He said, "You better come through this gate, mate." So I went straight through the gate. And as I came to the traffic light with my lad, right, he said, "I'll be here waiting for you when you get back." And as we got to the traffic lights, the Wolves team bus pulled up. And Gary O'Neill is sat on the front seat behind the driver. And if the only way I could describe his face, now I would normally fist pump this lot, "Come on, boys." And he looked like a dead man walking, Dave. He was glazed. He didn't look like, I've seen Nuno coming on the bus, and that was a man of icy steel look about him. He knew he could give anybody a game. This wasn't the same look on a manager's face I've seen. He's out of his depth. He won't make Christmas, Dave. But the trouble is, if they don't pull the trigger quick enough, we might
be too late then.
I think you're right on that, definitely, if things don't go right. So we're going to look ahead to Palace in a second, then we're going to do Q&A. Before we get that, I do need to tell you about this week's offering from FOCO, and it is this Wolves Brixel Buzz. There is a link in the description below where you can get this, which is the link there, as you can see. It is in the link, and you do get 15% off with your Always Wolves 15. The actual website itself, I'll just quickly show you. There's loads of products. You can see we've got the old caps, we've got bottles, we've got gnomes, sandwich boxes. This is the Brixel Buzz, as you can see there, which you can get. You get 15% off with us. And you've got like rucksacks, slippers. You've even got Christmas pajamas and stuff, and Christmas crackers. So you can get your Christmas crackers as well. I think they're, and this blanket's really warm as well. And you've even got a Brixel Molyneux as well that you can get. The link's in the description below. You have to use that link to get the 15% off. You're obviously going to be looking at Christmas gifting and stuff like that for Christmas. So plan ahead and use that link. So let's move on to Crystal Palace. I think we'll start with Sutty for this one. Sutty, what you're thinking about Palace and maybe even Southampton? Are you confident? Do you think we're going to win? What's your score prediction?
Well,
do you want us to win, or do you just want Gary out?
Look. I always want Wolves to win. I'm not one of these that says, "Oh, I'd rather lose the next 10 games to get him out." I've been to the 4th division, Dave. I don't know how many of these people have been to the 4th division. I've been to every shithole of a ground in this country. 82 of them, Dave. 82 with Wolves. They're shit. But I don't really want to go back there. So if you tell me we're going to win the next 8 games, thank you very much. I'll hold my hands up. I got it all wrong. There's no ifs, no buts, Dave. If we do not win these next 2 games, that takes us up to international week, he will lose his job. And if he doesn't, well, that just shows you every single bit of contempt that the owners have got for us. So I'm going neck on the line, 6 points.
Like it. Jack, we'll go with top Jack, top right corner, Jack.
I'll go with 4 points. I've just got a feeling we're not going to win both. I don't know what it is. I just don't think it's going to happen. And I think the reason I think that is because it should be 6 points. That's why I don't think it's going to be 6 points. Yeah, and I think you might go after that.
The voice of reason.
Yeah, I think we need to win both games, because otherwise that gap starts to get big and that pressure just ramps up. And like, I go back to what I just said. It's all right us like saying, "Oh, we still believe." I don't think the manager believes, and I think that's the killer factor at the minute. I don't think he's sitting there thinking, "I can turn this round." I really don't think he can, and that's the sad thing. No, you don't want to see anyone lose their job and that kind. And I think deep down he is a decent guy, and I think probably from what I hear, he's probably a decent coach, but I don't think he's a leader. I don't think he's necessarily a manager and that kind of thing. So I think before it's terminal, I think we need to get that character in.
Like it. Manny.
To stay up, you have to win a minimum of 10 games and then get a few goals. Right, 10 games. So we got 29 left. If we don't win these two, which are the two sides that were closest to us before Palace played today, then there's just no chance you're winning 10 out of the next 27. Just no chance. So I can see probably 4 points, and which really will still leave us behind the ballpark. 4 points from where we are is probably a good return, because we've been that awful. The last time Wolves won was Luton, which was a Samosa Saturday, and the next one is also a Samosa Saturday. So I got my fingers crossed. So it is a must win. There's no, you can't. You have to go in with the intention of saying this. We have to win. You have to get every person. You have to almost like you call a meeting on Monday morning, and you drag everybody in. The chef, the bloody kit man, the coach driver. You get them all in, and you look them in the face and say, there is nothing else that will happen apart from us winning, and instill that belief. But like Jack said, our manager's completely the opposite. He's talking about the opposition. What the hell's going on? You talk about you. When I'm doing something, I'm doing a challenge. I don't talk about the chat. I talk about me, what I'm going to bring to this party, and how I'm going to cope, and how I'm going to combat and battle against everything that comes across. And that's what impresses you about somebody, and you think, wow, but this guy's, got something there, and we can hang on to it. We've got nothing to hang on to from what Gary says. It's almost right now, we want him to just keep his mouth shut. Like, don't do any interviews until kickoff, because if you do an interview, I think we're just going to go like this and think, what's he said now? And he's rivaling Dean Saunders with some of his comments and some of his post and pre-match stuff, because it's like complete. If you went into any psychology or anything where you're trying to mentally talk up somebody and instill a bit of belief, he's giving messages to his players which are completely opposite. So to try and get 6 points with that will be a miracle. I hope we do, and I'll clap him. I'll be the first one to say fair play. If we do, but I just cannot see any way of us getting 6 points from these two games, and even four. I'm thinking, I'm crossing my fingers, like that'll be a miracle. So I'll go for 4.
No, I love it. Honest as always. We're going to talk about the Samosa Saturday right at the end, and just give a plug for that. Guys, this is your opportunity now. We've got nearly 700 of you watching live across Facebook, X, Twitter, whatever they call it these days. And, and obviously, YouTube. If you want to get involved in the comments, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. That would be much appreciated. We want to hit 35,000 by the end of the year. We're just over 34,400 at the moment. So hit the subscribe button. You can join in the chat. Right. ask your questions. Before we get on to that, I do just want to promise I'll give the foundation a plug for the sleep out. Jack, I think you're attending that, are you?
Yes, mate. I'm an ambassador for the Good Shepherd, so I'm going to be there every year now. From now, there's I'll be there. I think Carl Akimi's going to be there. Now, look, Mark Rose was there last year, and Carl Henry. Yeah, if anybody wants to come, get involved. It's a really good cause, and it's the money split between the foundation, the Wolves Foundation, and the Good Shepherd, which just they both do lots of incredible work across the city for people who really need it. And all money goes towards that, and it's really good. And the night itself, I know it's the idea of it is to obviously to make you people experience what it's like sleeping rough, but the sort of camaraderie and the atmosphere is so nice. It's really special, actually. The past 2 times I've done it, it's really surprised me. Manny's going to be there as well. I don't know how I forgot him because he's on the screen in front of me.
I'm not there, mate, Jack.
Oh, you're not?
Yeah, it's my first one. I'm missing because I'm in India then. So
you need to send that award back. You wouldn't be ashamed of yourself.
I know.
I'm only joking, mate. But I think I'd rather be in India. But yeah, people should get involved because it's a real. It's really. It's sort of inspirational, man, and it's really nice. So get involved, everyone, and I'll see you there. And if you need somebody to
and I'll tell you
to,
what, this year as well, everyone's getting a nice pucker pie as well on the night, as well as your hot drinks. Oh yeah, you are. That's confirmed. And I've done it 3 or 4 times. I'm also not going to be there because I will be in Morocco, getting a bit of winter sun. So unfortunately, I won't make it this one. But like anyone, I would recommend you get involved with it. It is a good night. You don't get a lot of sleep, but you've made a lot of. You do get a lot of satisfaction out of feeling what it's like. And there's lots of other Wolves fans there. You have a nice chat, you have a laugh, there's a few jokes, you have a bit of banter. You can moan about the Wolves to your heart's content as well, because Wolves, we have a lot of sleepless nights watching Wolves anyway, so it's supposed to be another one. Rebecca Harper, who's one of our members, is actually going to be doing it. Rebecca, if you can just type your link in the chat, I'll put that on the screen, and maybe some people can help support and donate to Rebecca's fundraising. I think it's about £35 for a ticket, and then you're going to raise about £100. So let's have a look, see what we've got. Any questions? Right. So the first one that I can see here is. Any one of you guys can answer this. What do you think of Gary O'Neill's comments in the week criticising Larson about his fitness?
Horrific. Absolutely horrific. Bruno Lage started doing it, throwing players under the bus. Lopetegui started mentioning players. That is what you do inside the dressing room. That's where if you think someone's not fit enough, where you grab them around the throat and tell them that they need to get fitter. If you think somebody's not working hard enough in training, you do it on the training ground. You do not. We're in a mess already. We're in an absolute mess. If we're top of the league, then you can say that. Pep Guardiola can say that about one of his players. He can, because he's sitting top of the league. We're bottom. You don't say that. That's horrific. And that's what I was saying. Gary O'Neill, keep your mouth shut and just, turn up on the dugout and get a team out there to beat Palace, and that's it. So.
Well, that question was from David Mills. For the panel, just very quickly from Patrick Morris. Just go round, everyone. Sarr or Johnson to start against Palace?
Sarr. I'm going to do Sarr still.
Okay, Sarr. Sutty?
Sarr.
Jack?
I'll say Johnson then, just to be different. But yeah, it's his ex-club as well, isn't it? So he might pop up with a winning goal. Yeah, so
for them,
it normally happens, isn't it? So yeah,
Manny.
If we play a back four, not Sarr, because when you play a back four, you have to play the ball with your feet.
Yeah,
not Sarr. If we play a back four, if we play a back five, Sarr. If we play a back four, Johnston.
This might be a bit harsh, but what would you prefer, dandruff or psoriasis?
Right.
Steve Wills said, loving the honest opinion, guys, and hearing like me. That O'Neill is out of his depth. Sutty is quality. Oh, bless. Craig's asked the same question about Johnson coming back in. We've done the last questions. Adrian Richards, do we have to pay all of Gary O'Neill's 4-year contract up in one go? Well, I don't know. I don't know how that would work.
I don't think you do.
Advisory board. How does
No,
that
you
work?
don't. What? My understanding is you pay a year in advance, and then they're entitled to be paid until they find another job. So, like last year, for example, we were paying Gary O'Neill, we were paying Julien Lopetegui, and we were paying Bruno Lage until he went to somewhere else. So they stay.
Isn't it? Jeff Shea masterclass, paying for 3 managers and not one good one between them.
Yeah. I think at one point Chelsea had 5 managers on the books at one point because they'd sacked them all and they hadn't got new jobs. So I think I'm not 100% sure on sort of percentages and stuff, but I think they get a lump sum, if you like, and then they stay in your employment until they find a new home, effectively. So
that's a great answer. Thanks for that. Rick reacts. You can probably see he's got a little wolf head next to him. Which means he's a member of the channel. Thank you for your support if you become a member of the channel. His question is, which Premier League manager do you think will get the boot first? United losing today, I think Ten Hag. Have you? And also they want to know, have you tried the festive pucker pie yet? Go on, Sutty, you can go first on this one.
Who's going to go first?
Who do you think is going to get the boot first?
Well, I thought Glasner was under a lot of pressure, but he's relieved himself of a little bit of pressure today, hasn't he?
And do you know what? The Southampton manager probably did himself helped him out yesterday, and
I don't think he's under pressure.
And Lopetegui won as well today, so
Lopetegui can't be under pressure. He's got 13 points, hasn't he?
I think he's on about 11 points now.
I wouldn't mind being on 11 points, would you?
No, I'd love to be on 11 points. But he was under pressure. He was being moved because he's been reporting in the press that West Ham were looking at Conseil Sarr as well. Conseil Sarr.
We should be looking at.
Dave, here's a name drop from Monday. Ray Winston comes up.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, he's read up about me being a Wolves fan, and he came up to me and he said, take Lopetegui back. He's absolutely useless. We absolutely hate him.
Really?
And I said, we're on 1 point, mate. You think you're useless? You want to come and sample some of our useless, and then you'll find out what useless is. It was, oh man, honestly. But I think clubs compensation, getting play. Unless you've got somebody lined up, I don't think you should sack anybody, because if we sacked him, say if we sacked O'Neill today, and then Jeff Shea and Matt Hobbs don't do anything for 2 weeks or 3 weeks because they just haven't got a clue where to go. We're in that Terry Connors situation, aren't we, where it just goes, into oblivion. So I think that's what clubs are waiting for, aren't they? There's a few clubs like United, unless they've got somebody who's going to, ride up there waiting. I just can't see him sacking the managers at the moment. And I think what's helped the clubs at the bottom is that there's so many bad clubs that have failed to win in the first 9 games.
Well, there's still 3 after 9 games. Still 3 clubs haven't won a game.
Yeah, so that's helped, hasn't it? Because if the others had won games, which would have left somebody completely and utterly adrift, then they'd been sacked by now, wouldn't they? So
definitely they'd have had to make a change. Steve Wills, who would the guys like to take over from O'Neill, and also Kieran Thomas, similar question. What manager replaces Gone? This is to the 2 Jacks, if you can answer those, because Sutty and Manny have sort of done this one before.
I'd like Pep. There's a manager called Pep at Man City. I won't mind him.
Is that Pep's Pizza?
And there's more chance in it. The realms of possibility, I'll take Pep, Boris Johnson, Or failing that, I'll take David Moyes just because he would get us organised and he'll keep us in the league.
Jack, can you let me be Boris Johnson's assistant? Because you know how much I like him.
Yeah. You can sort his breaks out as well, Susie.
Jack?
Yeah, I think David Moyes is the obvious one, isn't he? I think it'll almost be a race to see who can get him first. Well, and like we've just said, there's a few clubs that will probably be looking and thinking it'll be our first choice if we make the change. You know, I actually think he did a good job at West Ham. You know, regardless of what the West Ham fans think, I think he did really well. So yeah, I think he'd be, you know, not a long term solution, but I think in the short term, I think he'd sort the defence out for a start and get us some points, wouldn't he?
Okay, as a football, this is to Sutty and Manny. Is Santiago Bueno our most underrated player?
Well, another one, Dave, that was reportedly, well, he went public and said if we got another centre half in, I was going to ship him out.
That's
I mean, how does that make a player?
Which is amazing, yeah.
How does that make a player feel? And you know, these players, they are mega. Well, they're on good money for what they do. Wolves don't pay mega money. Let's get that out there. It's a lot to us, but it's not to a pro footballer. But they need an arm putting round them, and they almost need cajoling into belief in themselves. Adama Traore, by the way, Tony Pulis said he'd come in, you know, 1 game out of 10 and say, I'm really up for this guy. For the other 9, he'd come and say, I just ain't feeling it today. So he had to be almost cajoled into believing in himself. So you then got a manager that goes on record saying, I didn't want him, he'd be gone. So yeah, that kid, and you know for fact, for 12 months since he's come in, I've said to you, he's probably our most capable centre-half on the ball. So, yeah, I think he is underrated, and he didn't do a lot wrong yesterday either.
He did well against City as well.
Yeah.
Well against City. Manny, your thoughts on Santi, or is it like what Jack said, maybe underrated Semedo?
You know, I was going to go with Nelson Semedo. We paid a lot of money for him, so you're expecting. But I think he never, ever gets credit, really, from the whole fan base or the media, or, you know, people ain't going to be on Monday Night Football, you know, talking about, waxing lyrical about Semedo locking out Matoma or locking down Man City last week, or every week he just. When this he gets into positions, doesn't he? And he makes those last ditch tackles. He's got that pace. He wins. He clears it for the corner. He seems to have learnt a lot about, you know, getting rid of the ball as well. So I think he's really never ever gets the credit that he should get. You know, and yeah, underrated and undervalued as well a little bit, I think, in our squad. And he's the kind of player, if he ever went to a big team, we'd think, well, bloody hell, we used to have him one day, you know.
No, and his contract's running down as well. Here's a nice question. Anyone want to? I have a feeling who's going to answer this, but Sarah Speedy question for the panel: Should Nuno still be the manager, and where would Wolves be if he would have been back? It's a good question. Go on, Sutty.
Yes.
Yeah, go on. Where would we be?
I know for a fact, Dave. I know for absolute fact that when he went in the changing room, Dave, the place went quiet. Everybody listened to him. He had an aura about him. They believed in everything he said. He could drag results out of them players, Dave. They believed everything. If you disrespected that man, gone. Simple.
Not just the players.
Yeah.
But not just the players, it was like even the backroom staff.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story about his cleaner of his flat. It lives like basically down the road from us, and she used to like say, like, just bumping into him was like a wow moment. He just had a presence about him, a stature about him. He had kindness. He had compassion with his words. How many times did you see him run onto the pitch and grab players like that? Adama Traore, Raul Jimenez, the big bear hugs. Like, you're my son. I'm going to look after you.
Yeah.
Gary O'Neill, can he do that? No chance.
Dave,
he ain't going to do that with any
Dave,
players.
you know damn well, on my way to Qatar, I stopped in Istanbul airport.
Yeah.
And I'm going down the travelators like this, and I seen this guy come in, and I thought, I know him. 2 o'clock in the morning, it was Nuno. And he's going the other way. And I've called over to him, and he's seen my pin badge. I never wear any club colours, as you know. But even on England duty, I'll wear that Wolves pin badge everywhere. And I'm running the wrong way up the travelator now to get to him. And he's going, calm down, I'll wait for you. That man spoke to me for 15 minutes, Dave, and he would never come back to this football club while this regime is owning it. Forget it. No way.
I'm going to name drop a little bit as well there. So I had a brief meeting with him when I did the Wolves promotion party. I sort of went on stage in character and sort of took the mick out of the players a little bit, really, and now just some light banter. And I came off afterwards. He wouldn't have a clue who I was. I knew who he was, obviously, and he walked past me and I saw him coming. And I felt he's a bit godlike, you know. And he shook my hand and smiled at me, and he just said, very good. And I could have, if I'd have died then, I would have died a very, very happy man. He's got an aura about him. If this was 800 years ago, he'd be on a horse with a sword, and we'd all be following him, believing we were going to win the battle. You know, and that's what he's took to Forest. And a Forest fan sort of tries to have a little dig, not a dig, a bit of banter. Oh, we've got Nuno, and I said, you know what, just enjoy him, man. Just enjoy him for how long it lasts or how long he's there, because it's such a great feeling, that unifying feeling and united feeling that he gave not only the club, but that went across the whole city, you know. And it was very special. I've never seen it before, and I doubt I will again. And if instead of sacking 4 managers in a row and keep paying them, if they'd have put all that money together, perhaps, and bought a striker when he wanted one, when Rel got cropped, maybe he'd still be here.
If they had given that £100 million that they gave to Large to him.
Yeah, if they'd give him 30 million for Tammy Abraham, I believe that's what he wanted, or what he asked for. That's what I heard he asked for. Maybe he'd still be here, but here we are anyway. We still got the memories. Can't take the memories.
Absolutely. I'm just running down any questions.
Can I just say, Dave?
Here we go.
Quickly, Dave.
Yeah.
Odds are 22-1 for us to finish in the top 10. If you put money on that, you're going to lose. Keep your money in your wallet.
Who's done that?
Tom DeCourcy.
Mr. Tobias wants to know from the panel how many points are going to be needed to stay up this year.
33. It's going to be low, I think.
Yeah, it'd be slightly more than last year, but not by many.
33, 34.
Yeah.
I think that's sort of around the number. I think it will be low. This one's directly for Sutty. Thoughts on the captaincy changing hands?
Yeah, I personally think that's weighing very heavy on Lamina. I don't think he's a man that drags people out the trenches off their knees. You can't have your captain crying on. I said this a few weeks ago. You can't have your captain on his knees crying at the end of a game. That is just not on. So who are your leaders going to be? Well, you've got Dawson, but he won't play every game because he will get cropped. He's an old man now in football terms. You're going to play Semedo every game. Is he an absolute warrior of a leader? I'm not so sure he is.
The biggest warrior for me that we got on that pitch, if he played every game, is Tommy Doyle.
Tommy Doyle's a natural captain.
I saw him against Brentford away in the cup.
Natural leader.
Single-handedly got us out the crap that game.
And I think
the only other one is Cunha.
Yeah, but he's quite emotional, Cunha.
I don't think that the captaincy would weigh heavy on Tommy Doyle. And like we've said earlier, I don't think Andre's got longevity at Wolves. He's been brought in to make as much buck as fast as possible because he's just not the right player. He's a great player. I'm not saying he's not a great player, but we've got too many of these players because when you play Lamina, Andre, and Gomez all the same time, well, it just stagnates in the middle of the field. You've got 3 defensive midfielders almost. So, and then you're pushing one out on the right and just a mess. But Tommy Doyle is the one that's different. And I actually think, how old's Tommy Doyle now? 22?
23.
23. Well, I don't think it would weigh on him because I think he's got that bit of British grit in him that sometimes you need, you know. So for me, yeah.
He's got a big heart. He's got a lot of
Yeah.
heart. Reece Jones, if you had to pick 3 teams going down right now, this is to the panel, quick fire, starting with the 2 Jacks, voice of reason. 3 teams to go down right now. Who are you picking?
Who's down there at the minute? I'm tired. Sorry, lads. Who's down there?
Southampton at bottom.
Southampton, Ipswich. I'd love to see Everton go. I'd love to. Got nothing against them, but I just think get out of the way now. Enough's enough. It's getting ridiculous.
Leicester, maybe.
Leicester, I think Leicester.
I watched them the other night against. They were awful against Nottingham Forest. So
there's still 3 teams worse.
That message or put a comment. He said we're way better than Leicester, is what he said. So
yeah, but
points tally doesn't say that though, does it?
No, they don't. No.
You know,
Manny, who's going down?
I think if Southampton, Ipswich, and I actually think, I don't know, man, that third one is so open. It's like completely, utterly. I think it could be us.
Yeah. Unless Man City get deducted 50 points or something.
They'll still finish in the top 10, Jack, with 50 points.
True.
Sutty?
Ipswich, Southampton, and I think if we win next week, I think Palace could get dragged right into it. I don't think Leicester will go. They're not going to get a points deduction now either, so...
No, interesting. Guys, it's been an absolutely brilliant thing. But just before we go, Manny, if you could just give a little few words ahead of Southmouth. So Saturday, number 22 against Palace. The 3 points.
You know what?
The last time we got 3 points.
We did. We played
3 points
against
Samosa.
Yeah, Luton. That was and we got 3 points. And this is a pretty similar type of game. You know, it's a game that we should, even though we've been rubbish, we've got the players. If he can come up with a way of playing them, which we none of us are confident of that happening, but if it does happen, you know, hopefully you know, we can win on Saturday. It's our 22nd event we've done. We started in 2018 just as a one-off. It was
I think I've done most of them.
Yeah, you know, and like so many people play a part. We have people who are homeless who come to the store. We've got Beverly Knight coming on Saturday. You know, she says, I'll be there, don't worry about that. I even got a message this week from you know, we just talked about all our great players, from Mr. Ruben Neves, you know, and he wished me good luck and everything, and he said he'll be coming, not to Samosa Saturday, but the week after the game against Southampton, to watch Wolves at home. And yeah, so he'll be coming for that game. But you know, on Saturday, please come out before the game, and even if you can't donate, it doesn't matter. Just come and join in, like a bit of spirit. We need a bit of spirit around our club, you know, and it is a lot of togetherness. A lot of people get together. Jack's always there early, and you get to speak to people, and you get to talk to others, and without talking and without speaking to people, you never get to know people. And a lot of people live their lives online and through social settings, and that's not a real true reflection of what people are. So it's a real community feeling. We're going to split the funds. I can't do the sleep out this year because I'm volunteering in India this year, and but we'll give 50% of what we raise on that day will go towards the Molyneux Sleep Out with the foundation, the Good Shepherd. So please dig deep, give what you can, but join in, and let's make it successful off the pitch, and hopefully afterwards on the pitch as well.
And by the university buildings, running from obviously it's a later kickoff, so you're probably running from just after.
Yeah, we'll start about 1:30. We get early because we have so many people come early. We've got all the stewards are coming up, all the ground staff have come up. Somebody else from the club's messaged me as well. The ticket office staff, they all come up, so they all take stuff and they all contribute. You know, we can criticise Wolves, and quite rightly so, right at the top with our ownership and their intentions. But actually, some of the people, the individuals who work in the ticketing or the stewarding, or it's not a reflection on them. They're really, really good people, really, really wholesome people who do help and do come forward. So 1:30 till we sell out, and we always do sell out. And the last half an hour is just absolutely
That last half
mental.
an hour
It is mental.
you're a
We've got
salmon.
like 20. Dave, we usually have 15 buckets. So I think we've got 20 this time. 20. So we've got 20 collection buckets, and we can't keep up. And it's just unbelievable. Really is unbelievable. And it's become like a community event. I actually stand back and just watch everyone just produce the magic, and so many people join in, young kids join in. And if you want to, if someone's thinking, oh, I won't mind helping, yeah, just come and help, and come and serve, come and stand with us. You don't have to do much. You just just be there and just encourage people. So thank you again to everybody who helps, supports, volunteers. Come down there and let's make it a really special day.
Fantastic. Listen, guys, it's been an absolutely brilliant show. We've had well over 600 people watching across the platforms live. There'll be obviously thousands more. There are a couple of thousand more will listen to it on the podcast, which will be out in the morning, and then there'll be loads more that'll be watching it on catch up on here. So it's been a great show. Listen, we always try and have very varied debate and opinions. It's always put across in the right way. The one thing that we have got, we all love our club. We just want some success. It's tough, nobody wants to be calling for the manager to go. That's not what any fan wants, really. You say how you feel it. I think it's fair to say the next two games, Palace. Well, if he loses to Palace, it might be that might happen anyway, because I don't think there's going to be any comeback. There's a lot of pressure on, and with all the best will in the world, I do wish Gary O'Neill. I hope he does win these two games, and he show, and and like you say, Sutty, in 10 games' time, you're coming on and saying, should have kept the faith. But there's a lot of concern that it might be papering over the cracks, and stuff like that. But I guess it's all going to come out in the wash. The November international break, I think, is that where they'll make that decision based off that. And let's hope that they do get the 6 points, and we whack them 4-0 each game, and it's like we're all like going, yeah, brilliant. Finally, Manny, again, just from all of us, we're very, very proud of you. You're a friend. I've known you for a very, very long time. You're crazy at times, going on walking without sleeping, walking, and thingy, but it was a real pleasure.
I've got it, Dave. I want to stop. I know you're adulating me, but without the support, it's not possible. And and it's even you guys, what you do and the way you treat me and the support you give me is really important. So important. It's such a big part of fundraising. It's never a single. I know I'll get put on a stage and get awards and stuff, but I sort of you think, what the hell's going on here? Because so much support, so many good messages, so many people who donate huge amounts of money, and it's not possible without any of them. And Connor Cody on the night, I have to do another walk, because he said he's promised me. He goes, next walk, I'm joining you for at least part of it, and I'll promise.
How great was that though? That the perfect person that Connor came on.
Mate, he was. You know what? I'd have him back at our club in a flash, because people.
I did.
I said it on the stage. I said, if you're listening, Wolverhampton Wanderers, sign this man back. And I said it on stage, and they played it. And the thing is, when people criticise Connor as a defender, we've just conceded 25 goals in 9 games. It wasn't that bad under him. It was never that bad under him.
He's a leader as well.
He could lead a game. He could ping a ball 40 yards onto someone's foot. None of our defenders can do that. And if you play that type of system in a wing, in that 3-4-3, there's no one better. He knows he's got limitations. He plays in a 4, but in a 3-4-3, he's got everything you need, you know. And yeah, so yeah. Thank you, thanks guys, you know, for everything. And see you Saturday, you know. And
You will,
you know,
definitely.
there's a trophy for all of you.
Brilliant.
Class, money.
Absolutely. Been a great show. Sooty, thanks for coming on and being as honest as ever. Jack, Gary Poundland, what? Listen, mate.
Stay till the end next time. You want that?
Yeah, stay till the end. Keep doing what you're doing, mate, because you put a smile on people's faces, and we need a lot of humour and smiles. Keep you doing it. And like when you've got some plans and stuff like that, come on, share it with everyone so we can, you know, let people know what you're doing. But keep up the great work. And Jack, the voice of reason, I'll see you at Molyneux 6 o'clock tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So until the next one, guys, from all of us, thanks for joining in. Always Wolves.
See you guys.
Always wolves.
Good night, chaps.